Welcome to the Business Spotlight. My name is Jada Walker. I am your host for today's conversation. And my guest today is Kyle Ellison. He is the founder and design principal at Trailside Creative. We'll be talking about his business, journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to build and operate a business. So, Kyle, welcome to the show and thank you for being here today. I'd love for you to give us a little bit about your background and of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
Sweet. So, as you mentioned, my name is Kyle, and I've got pushing 20 plus years at this point of design experience. The first part of it, which was in-house at a couple of big brands that people will probably recognize. And then about 8 years ago, I found myself laid off. What do you do when you're laid off? Well, you could either roll over and play dead. You could try to find another job, which I did attempt to do at first. And then I realized I just needed to make a commitment. And so one freelance job turned into, or one cold call turned into a freelance job, which turned into hey, maybe I could do this. And then all of a sudden, here we are 8 years later, running Trailside Creative, which is my business out here in Southwest Austin. And was quite the move to move out here for a job to work for YETI. I was in the bicycle helmet space first, working for Bell Helmets and Giro Sport Design, and from there I was there for about 11 years, right out of school. Felt like I was kind of being pigeonholed as the helmet guy. Thought, oh geez, if I ever get laid off, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be the helmet guy and I'll never get a job. And so I started to look around. I started to think about, well, what other kinds of jobs could I get? What other things might be interesting to do? And from there, I turned down a job to work for a company called SRAM, which makes bicycle components based out of Chicago. Because
Okay.
Chicago, compared to Santa Cruz area, Santa Cruz is like paradise. It's 72 degrees all year long. You got waves and surf and sun and beach and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
But then to move to Chicago, I kind of turned that down. But then when YETI called, I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, well, you were willing to at least entertain Chicago. You got to at least go to Austin and check it out. And
Yes.
so I moved the family out here. What was that, 2015? End of 2015, and worked there for a couple of years. Proved to myself that I could do things um, other than helmets. Worked on the first wheeled rolling cooler that Yeti produced, called the Tundra Hall. Was one of
Oh,
the projects
really?
I worked on while I was there. The Yeti blanket, the dog bowl. Introducing Yeti to new customers and new categories was really one of our focuses.
Yeah, I was like, because
And so,
I never heard of Yeti before. Like, I had a dog, so like, so I had
sure.
seen the dog bowl.
Yeah,
Keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going.
no, it's all good. When we worked in that, or when I worked in that space, I was really focused on understanding who the users are outside of the bike industry, understanding all of the different challenges that come up when you're designing something that's not a bike helmet, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, the big challenge was to design more simply, right? Design
Yeah.
something that was much less complex than a helmet. Helmets are probably one of the most complicated kinds of products because it doesn't just have to have all the parts that fit together and look good,
Mm-hmm.
but it also has to feel good. It's a wearable, and so it's got to.
Yeah.
There's
And
a
some of them are
whole,
tight.
yeah. So all of the wearability parts, and then it all has to pass impact testing. And so I
Mm-hmm.
got to Yeti, and I was like, oh my gosh, these things are so easy. It's a rectangle, it's a cylinder, and so
Right.
um, I grew an appreciation when I was at Yeti for all the other processes that I didn't understand. Some metalworking, some soft goods, and I really fell in love with soft goods when I was there. So when I left Yeti in 2018. I was kind of one of those, I got laid off, you can't fire me, I quit type of things. And honestly, best thing that could have happened to me, because I wouldn't have pushed myself into the space to start a business
Mm-hmm.
if I hadn't been effectively forced into that position. I mean, of course I could have taken another job. I turned down 3 jobs in the first year. One of the things I talk to people about when I think about the journey is I was going through well, let me back up a half step. I like to say I'm a mountain biker by passion. I love mountain
Yeah.
biking. And I equate and sort of use that as an analogy for running a business. or at least in some cases. And in my case, it's perfect because when you're on the side of the trail, Trailside Creative is named for where the good ideas come from. They don't come from
Mhm.
sitting here behind the desk. Maybe because you and I are having a brainstorm together, we might have some
Right.
great ideas. Hopefully, we'd have some amazing ideas through our brainstorms together and working together. But really going out and using the products is where all the great ideas come from. And so I realized after I turned down, I think it was the second job, I was like, actually, this is kind of like going on a crazy downhill mountain bike run, and you're going on this trail and you see an obstacle. And if you commit to it, you're probably, no guarantees ever, right? You're probably going to successfully clear the obstacle. If
Right.
you hesitate, you will fall on your face, nearly a guarantee. You might not get hurt, but you probably will get hurt and you
Probably
will
will. Yeah.
crash. So I realized, you know what? Listen, I need to commit to this. I need to go in all the way. I'm going to stop applying for jobs. I'm going to stop looking for other jobs and just look for work and start to really rely on my network and dig into all of those relationships that I've built. That's one of my superpowers, if you will, is connecting people. And so you can't connect people if you're not a natural extrovert person who is a networker, right? And so
Hmm.
that's what I do. I see, this person needs to connect with this person, that person needs to connect with this other person. And so that's it. That's a part of what I like to do. I enjoy doing it. I feel like I'm pretty good at it. Reading between the lines a little bit and seeing, well, actually, really what you need is someone who's in like branding agency. You don't need what I do.
Yeah.
Let's
Right.
connect you with those guys, right? And so we help a lot
I
of
like
our
that.
clients in that way. Um, so I decided to commit, right? No, no,
Hmm.
no plan B, right? Of course, there's always plan B. Go get a job someplace else, right? But
Right.
I found myself with the opportunity to build a business doing the things that I love doing. I love to participate in outdoor activities, sports that I enjoy, backpacking, rock climbing, mountain biking, motorcycle riding, like anything fun and outside. Like, all right, well, that's what we're going to do as a company. Our mission is to design products that inspire people to live active, healthy lifestyles, right? So that's what we do. So some of them will be in the hunting space, some of them will be in the fishing space, some of them will be in, health and wellness, and
That's
we have a
cool.
pretty broad range, but our
Yeah.
core as a business is the things that are fun to do and products for those industries and for those spaces. So that's a little bit about kind of how I got here. Right now we've got a couple of designers. We do in-person sessions with clients. We meet clients in the field. We take products out and go test them. So we're doing our best to really live by that mission.
That I like loved everything you just said. I was like, yo, you're so helpful. Like I'm like, connect me with whoever. I don't even know who you
Yeah.
connect me with. But I'm like, yes, if I ever need to connect, I'm gonna be like, Kyle, I need you. Do you know someone in this? Like
Yeah,
that is so
I mean,
cool.
and the other part of I think what makes it this is the right place for me is
Hmm.
because I like to call myself an eternal optimist, even when it probably shouldn't be. Um, and so excuse me, a big part of that is like people ask, well, is the cup half full or is the cup half empty? I'm like, well, the cup is full all the way. The first half is stuff. That's the whatever's in there, and the second half that's you might call empty is opportunity. Right? The cup is
Oh.
always full, and if you don't look at it like the cup is got a lot of opportunity in it, where it doesn't have the things already that are taking up the bottom half,
Hmm.
then you're dwelling on the negative part, and so that's a big part of just my positive, overly positive nature, perhaps, um,
Yeah.
is to
But
figure out.
it's great to be like that because it's like you keep yourself going. Unlike some people who will just like, fail and be like,
Yeah,
oh, that's it. So that's
yeah.
that's like a great trait to have. Like not a lot of people have that at all. So I like that. So let's
I
actually
I
let's
I would hope that for more people.
yeah,
It's
really. It's like rub some of that off. Hopefully more people watch this podcast and take that from this.
infectious positivity, right? Not the toxic
Yes,
positivity, but the infectious part, the good stuff.
yes, yes. So let's set the stage for our viewers and listeners.
Sure.
Generally speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like? Are you the sole founder, or do you have like any type of investors that invest in your business?
Great question. So, my wife has invested in me and investing in the
Oh,
business in that sense. And so while we do all the like filing everything jointly. We do every shared bank account, all that jazz. We're together in all aspects of this. But when I started the business, she was busy, so she couldn't sign the paper. So I
yeah.
just signed the paper and we ran with it. So officially, it's like me by myself on the paperwork. But she's been added to everything, so it's a joint between the two of us. Um, but at the end of the day, when it's the right time and we need to grow in an appropriate way, we might
Hmm.
consider seeking outside investment. Where we would look for outside investment would be if it was critical for us to win a client or a contract with a particular piece of equipment that we don't have, or we need more
Mm,
space to grow in a way that would allow us to talk to those other clients or
yeah.
be able to engage them in a more meaningful way. Those would be
Hmm.
opportunities where we would look at maybe having investors. The other part of what we do is we design things, we make things for
Hmm.
other people, right? So you might come to me or anybody who's watching this podcast might come to us and say, "Hey Kyle, Trailside Creative, can you design my widget, whatever it is, right?" And sure,
Yeah.
absolutely, but like then you're going to have to find funding for that. So if we were ever going to do our own product, right,
Hmm.
to sell on Amazon or direct to consumer or anything else, we don't have an extra 100 grand or 200 grand in capital laying around just to drop
Right.
into. So we're effectively just like every other startup where we're bootstrapped. We're, you know, depleting very small amounts, hopefully, our savings if we're slow or we're replenishing, and so the business gets pretty much most of what comes in goes back into the business. And so, we pay ourselves salaries and all those kinds of things. And so as a group, we're pretty lean and we don't have any outside stakeholders.
At least like I like how your wife is so supportive of you. Like like because it's not like you don't get that every day. It's mostly like you want the wife, like if the wife is gonna do something, you want like your husband to support you because it's like
Sure.
I don't know. They usually like the
It's a
husband has like
partnership.
the I guess like the standard type of job, whatever. I guess it's standard, whatever. But yeah, I like that. I like how you guys are partnered and like you guys are actually like working together and can make that happen because not a lot of people can do that. So I love that.
Yeah, my wife went to school as a dental hygienist. Her dad was a
Oh,
dentist.
really?
She didn't want to run a business and she didn't want to be the boss. And so that's why she didn't go to dental school. She went into hygiene instead, so she could just come to work and then go home.
Yeah.
Oh, fast forward to 2018 when we're starting this business and she's looking at me with this scowl going,
You're probably like,
WTF, man, I didn't go to school for this. I didn't want this. Like, what are we doing? So, she's pretty good natured about it. And, she runs all of our bookkeeping. And so she's actually an engaged part of the
nice.
business as opposed to just being a support
Yeah.
portion. And so that really helps. I enjoy being around her. Hopefully she enjoys being around me as much as I enjoy being
Right.
around her. And so we make it work together. Not everybody gets to do that, right? If
No,
you're a
not at all.
solopreneur, that's hard, right? That's a lot
Yeah.
harder. And so the
Because it's like that's a lot
challenge,
more pressure on you. You got to do
well,
more. Like, ooh,
yeah, the challenge for us is separating work and life, right?
yeah.
It's work is life. And so
But
that's
yeah,
not a good thing, right? That's I would say
no.
that's toxic. That's not good. I need to
Do you
figure out how
guys
to
go
produce
on? Do
more.
you guys go on vacations and like take like
Not enough.
self care? Oh my
We
gosh,
we do, but not enough. And I would argue that we would, no matter how much we did, it wouldn't be enough.
my goodness. Yeah, I was just telling. I think it was someone I was interviewing yesterday. We were talking about how everyone just needs to go on a lot more self care trips or just do more self care because life is stressful, work is stressful, the
Yeah.
world is stressful. So
Oh my goodness,
everyone
yes.
everyone needs to just go to the spa or something. I don't know. We all just need to be on a beach, relaxing.
Everybody needs a foot massage.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So when you look at your role, how many hours do you spend working in the business, like the job, and how many do you spend working on the business, like strategy and planning and stuff like that?
That's a really good question. So I'm how to say this? I am constantly trying to improve my following of the entrepreneurial operating system, the EOS. And and there's a lot of structure in EOS, and the EOS is why we have our six values, why we have our clear stated mission, and our 10-year vision. And so I'm trying, but I'm not doing a very good job. I work in the business more than I work on the business by I don't know, it's probably 80%, 20%. I ended up hiring somebody to do business development for me. And I had somebody at a trade show when I was talking to them about it. Oh yeah, I hired a business developer. This is probably 4 years ago,
Hmm.
maybe a little bit more than that. And he looks at me and he says, "So you're busy then?" And I was like, no, I'm not busy. That's why I need this person to help me. And I realized that like when you're working on the business, you're
Hmm.
able to do the strategic things. But so I hired someone to help me work on the business so that I can work in the business more. And so his job is full time, working on the
Oh,
business,
nice.
working on marketing, working on sales strategy, going to trade shows. That is his only job. And then my
Oh,
job
nice.
is, and he'll get commission and or not commission, but he gets, portion of sales, right? That's part of how that relationship works. And so for us, the big win has been to enable me to be able to be the design principal more and then
Yeah.
also spend some time. It's probably 25% of the time is on the business. And
Hmm.
then I spend 75% or around 75% of my time in the business. A big part of what I do on the business is like, and this is a question, right? Is closing a deal on the business
Hmm.
or in the business, right? I
Ooh,
have
yeah.
I have probably 100 blog topic articles that have yet to be written. You can't outsource thought leadership, right? And so
Yeah.
what am I'm still working in the business, and I think of as an on the business part, like
Hmm.
spending time dedicated to thought leadership and conveying your what you think is your value and your insights to the world. I I suffer from all the things everybody else suffers from. Self-doubt. I suffer from imposter syndrome. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say, like all these things. And so I
I
have,
feel like that
you
is
know,
every artist. Like I went to art. I dabble in art. Like I can
yeah,
draw, I can paint, but like I have the same issues where I'm like, I don't know, I don't know who I like. I've jumped from different jobs because I'm just like I don't know who I
yeah.
am or like where I really fit. So definitely understand you on that side.
Yeah, it's really hard to consider when when to let go. When
Hmm.
when is it acceptable? Um,
Right.
I was a little nervous setting things up for this conversation now. And when we first started the call, I was like, okay, well, which camera should I use? I got this
Yeah.
one and this one and so it's like there's a lot of anxiety. It's performance anxiety. It's not wanting to sound like a fool, and
Right.
I'm not willing to say anything in like behind closed doors, or I'm careful not to say something behind closed doors that I wouldn't say in
Hmm.
public, right?
Right.
So if I sound like an idiot when the door's closed, I'm probably going to sound like an idiot when the door's open, right? So I should
Right.
probably just be careful. So it's I think it's important as we look at sort of how we work on the business and in the business or on
Hmm.
the business that we're actually considering, you know, is it good enough? Is this acceptable, right? We think about in businesses,
Hmm.
what's your MVP, right? Your minimum viable. And so up on the product side, as we design something, we go, okay, well, what's your budget? Okay, your budget is, $25,000. Well, we want to make the maximum viable. We don't want to make the minimum viable. That would be 10,000,
Right.
maybe 20,000. But if we have 50 to spend, like let's build the as far and as good as we possibly can within your budget. We want to make sure we have time to go to production and do all the other things. So, your
Yeah.
budget, is it the product budget or is it development budget, right? If it's your development budget, then that development budget is gonna, we need to know what it is so we can work around it. And
Yeah.
so for your for my business, I mean, we paid a couple of folks to help us analyze why our sales net was not capturing as many as we could, right? And so
Hmm.
we evaluated that with him. So it's like we're investing in the business with outside help sometimes, and then we're like on Friday, tomorrow's Friday, right? Anyways,
No, tomorrow's Thursday. Today's Wednesday
tomorrow's
because today was
Thursday.
trash day.
Perfect. Perfect. You just gave me another day in the week. Thank you. So on Friday, we're gonna do a work on the business day, right? Like we're
Nice.
gonna
Yeah.
we call it an in-house workshop where we're just gonna work on the business. We're gonna literally work in the shop. We're gonna, take care of our sample materials and our sample library and basically make things better for clients when they come to visit. And if we get,
Yeah.
need more storage, things like that, we're gonna work on this upcoming, Friday. And so we're finding ways to make it a priority that
Hmm.
everybody's working on the business, so it's not just me, right?
Yeah,
That's
because it gets tiring and like you want like personal time or at least like family time. Like you have a wife, so like I can understand like you would want more family time to spend with
yeah.
her. I don't know if you have kids, but like if you
Well,
have
I
kids, it's
have
like
12-year-old and a 16-year-old, and
oh well
so
then yeah,
right there,
yeah, and those are
they're
like the
kind,
best. It's like the last couple years before they're like bye, like don't really need you
yeah.
anymore. So it's
Well,
like
and
yeah,
and they kind of need us, right? They kind of need us
right,
still.
right, right. Oh yeah,
Um,
when I left, I called my mom like probably every day asking her about something and being like, I need help with this, or can you help me pay for this, or like whatever. Like I was just like, Mom, I need you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So we try to convey the values by demonstration, right?
Hmm.
We like to, we try our best to eat dinner as a family every night. We pretty much eat breakfast together as a family. But my son is a musician and he has concerts and rehearsals 2 to 3 nights a
Oh,
week.
so
And
cool.
so, I invested in a bunch of fancy cameras. And so my side business, Downbeat Photos, is taking pictures of all
Oh,
these
that's
musicians that
nice.
he's doing. So there's a balance where when we're working with with family and you're wanting to spend time
Hmm.
with family, um, it's important to make sure that for me, it's important to make sure that we're adhering to like the things both my kids like. One of them is really into drama and so into
Hmm.
theater. And so I'm taking all of the skills that I learned doing concert photography and I'm taking pictures of his theater performances, right? So those we're finding ways to like engage both of the kids at
It's
different
like you
levels.
have a hat in like everything. Like even though like that's like a part of like your family life, like it's like you could do something with that in the future, or even like if he becomes like a bigger artist, I'd be like,
Well,
Dad,
that's
come on
cool.
tour with me and take these pictures. Like that
Absolutely.
would be
Absolutely.
awesome. So let's move on and let's talk about what makes the business so special. So what
Perfect.
do you think makes your business unique and how do you communicate what makes your business stand out against the competition?
That's a really good question. So one of the things that we did early on is we decided like I'm a designer. I could design anything, right?
Right.
So what kind of products should I design? And then I looked back at my career leading up to the point where I was starting Trailside, and I realized I've been in the outdoor action sports sporting space my whole time.
Mhm.
After I got laid off from YETI, I attended what at the time was one of the bigger retail or trade shows called Outdoor Retailer. And Outdoor Retailer
I've actually heard
has
of that.
since kind of fallen apart and it's a
Mhm.
shadow of its former self after COVID and all these things.
Yeah.
But going to that show, I think that was probably spring of 2018, or maybe it was winter of 2018, shortly after I had left YETI, and it was like January, February timing, and it was really interesting to go because I had everything was, what can we do for YETI? What was a YETI competitive product? Blinders on, like I call them brand blinders. And
Okay.
as soon as those fell away, I was looking around going, oh my gosh, there's opportunity here and here and here, and I can do any of these things, right? It really kind of further evolved my perception of I'm the helmet guy to I'm going to break out and I'm going to design other things that are not helmets. And then
Mhm.
I'm going to do something else after that, right? Like and it grew. And so going then to these trade shows, I was able to really evaluate, well, now I can literally do anything. So, you asked a question. and I had a way to link that back. So ask me the question again, and then I'll tie it
No,
together.
you're okay. I do that all the time. What makes your business unique, and how do you
Oh, perfect.
communicate
Yes,
what
right.
makes your business stand out against the competition?
So specifically, it is that industry expertise, right? So
Hmm.
uh, I go backpacking. I participate in all these sports like cycling and snowboarding and whatnot. I do a lot less snowboarding now that I'm here in Austin, but uh, we're participants in the sports that we participate or that we design product for. And so when you go as an entrepreneur or as a company to look for a design agency, well, you find a lot of, we'll call them generic design agencies. They do a lot of consumer electronics. They do a lot of
Yeah.
consumer product goods or CPG or maybe some housewares or people specialize in different things, certainly. Some people do a lot of
Hmm.
medical devices and whatnot. Um, but nobody in the States that I could find, there are a couple of competitors that we have that are actively marketing themselves as doing the same thing
Hmm.
we do, but we're focused in the outdoor space or spaces, right? Hunting and fishing,
Yeah.
camping and overlanding, all of that. Like that's the stuff that we like to do, and it's still massive, right? So when we talk to clients,
Hmm.
say, listen, you don't you don't have to teach us about this area. Sometimes they do,
Right.
because I don't do that one particular thing, but I'm pretty familiar with either the
Like everything.
genre. Yeah, I'm familiar with the things that are surrounding it, and so at the end of the day, they don't really have to teach us. We already
Right.
are endemic in that space, and so while we're coming to their business with an outside perspective, we that's every design agency provides that value. um, Being able to have a second opinion that's not sort of we'll say handcuffed by the like emotional or historical baggage of being in
Hmm.
the company. When I was at Bell, you can't do that because of X, Y, or Z. Was you just had this knowledge of what was done before, and as an outside agency, right? This is something that we tell anybody who will hire us as an outside agency is like what's the difference between in-house and outside is that ability
Hmm.
to come in with a fresh set of eyes and say, why are you doing that? Because we have always done it that way. You don't need to do it that way, right? Like
Well,
so
right.
there's that part of it, but the other part for us is and anybody that's not something that allows us to stand out at every design agency can say that. But what we get to say and what we market a lot of is that we're experts in our space. Like
Yeah.
I've got 25 years of designing and doing design engineering, working with mechanical engineers on helmets. Nearly every kind of helmet, I would challenge anybody to bring me a helmet that I haven't designed one of that kind, right? There's a couple out there.
Yeah.
Right? There's like fighter jet pilot helmets.
That's cool.
Formula One racing helmets. Those are two that I haven't done. But other than that, I've done a lot of different helmets, right? So
That would be
uh,
so crazy to be like, oh, I made that person's helmet. Like, if you had made it, but I'm like, that would be so awesome. But like, it's still cool to say that you've made all these different other types of helmets because like my parents actually, I think it was just my dad. I think actually no, it was both of them. They both used to work at a Bell, like in the factory. So like they would put the parts together or whatever. So like it's
yeah,
just funny whenever you mentioned it, it took me back to whenever I was little and I was like, oh, they used to work at Bell. And they would bring us home helmets all the time. Well, not let me not say that. Ooh, that's probably bad. But they would bring us home. I don't know. I don't know if it was okay, but they would bring us home helmets.
yeah. Well, I think for me, as I look at sort of the kinds of products that I've done,
Hmm.
we've done a lot of different products. We've spent a lot of time doing, things that are made of metal, for overlanding accessories, things for, body armor and wearables, gloves and knee pads and stuff like that. A lot of backpacks. We prototype a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. And so that's actually another thing that we advertise or that we pitch to clients is that most of these other agencies are making a tech pack and sending it to the Far East.
Hmm.
We don't like to wait, so we
No.
just make it ourselves, right? I don't
Yeah.
want to rely on somebody else to fill in all the pockets and all the corners, right? I want to
Right.
build the entire story here and then convey that message to whoever the vendor is. We work with a lot of domestic partners in addition to partners in the Far East. And so where do you want to make it, right? Most people will
Right.
say, "Oh, I really want it to be made in America. Yay, America." Cool, I do too. But are you ready to pay the price? Are your customers, excuse me, are your customers ready to pay the price? Right? It's going to be 3 to 4 times the cost of something made
That
in the
is
Far
so
East.
crazy. Like what? And everyone's always like, "Oh, it needs to be made in America," but I'm like, "That's
Well,
what?"
the classic example is this. People say, "I don't want it to be made in China. Made in China is garbage." And then I ask, "Where's your phone made?" The like peak of
Right?
pocket technology is not made in the United States.
No.
Like
I'm like,
there
they have
are
so much
bad
better technology. Aren't we like 2 years
well
behind
the
them or something like
well
that?
the thing is there are bad actors everywhere, right? And there are
Hmm.
good players everywhere. And we'll vet through either our Far East our Far East sourcing partners, right? Our sourcing agents who will go to the factories or who know the factory owners and will say, "Hey,
Hmm.
can you make this new product for us, a new soft cooler,
Yeah.
a new backpack or something?" And and we're connecting through them to the factory, and we'll go to the factory or we'll take the clients to the factory, see the places. We're not going to work with anybody who's, doing child labor or doing anything nefarious
Right.
or just having poor standards of building a product. We have to have good
Yeah.
QC, we have to have good testing. And so those are critical components to making anything that's going to be successful for a long duration. Like anything can just, pop real fast and then die off because
Yeah.
whatever problems are. So for us, it's really important to make sure we build the relationships and that when someone comes to us, we can convey that understanding. So those are the things that we, whether it's prototyping in the United States, whether it's really deep specialized skills associated with whatever the products are in the categories that we're working on, those are the things that we typically will promote and sell.
I like that. So actually, since you kind of brought up promoting, this is actually going to lead me into marketing, which is something that's
Sure.
vital. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier. So I'm always
Yeah.
curious what successful businesses are doing. What percentage of your monthly sales is typically invested back into your marketing budget?
Oh, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. I would say in aggregate, probably 10 to 20% of monthly sales is invested back. I think about it
That's
as a
good.
calendar year. So we have a budget,
Mhm.
and it's about 10% of the annual budget. No, it's not. It's about 5% of the annual budget for for each month if I divide it all up. Um, and that's probably not nearly enough. It's
That's more than most people, though.
Probably,
I've
well, I
I've
was
had
just gonna say,
people they've said
I'm
that.
doing the math, and I'm a
Hmm.
designer, remember? I'm a designer, so it's probably actually, I'm like, okay, 10%, 5%, it's probably like more like 2.5% is actually what's being invested back. I think that's right. I think it's more like 2.5. It's
Okay.
supposed to be, we need it to be closer to 5. The reality is that that's our going to trade shows, and that's it. It's our going to the trade shows. And when we go to the trade shows, that's where our investment in marketing is. We haven't put any money into actual marketing, Google
Oh,
ads, or anything like that for 8 years. And we'd probably be more successful if we were able to do
right.
that. I mean, last year we didn't have enough work. We had to lay somebody off. Like things were rough.
Oh
And
no.
so we've adjusted our business plan, we've adjusted the things that we offer a little bit, and we've found a sweet spot where we're able to bring some, because it's really hard to get somebody who's an entrepreneur to part with $50,000 because they just met you,
Yeah.
right? Like that's really
Right.
difficult. So we've found smaller ways to enable people to engage with us at a much lower cost so that they can
Hmm.
basically accelerate a project, work with us for a really short period of time, a half a day, whatever, and that allows us and enables us to build a rapport and a relationship. Now they know how we work, now they trust us, and we're able
Yeah.
to provide extreme value in that 1 or 2 days. Then they go back, they can either take it to somebody else or 9 times out of 10, now they're coming back to us. And so referrals are how we get most of our business, and we don't
Yeah.
put enough money into marketing. We would probably be much bigger company if we were to actually invest in marketing budget towards whether it's LinkedIn ads or Facebook or Google AdWords or something. Uh, to be totally honest, I tell my design team all the time, like I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just winging it and seeing what works. And so here we are.
I'm,
So
that's
far,
just
it's
kind of how
working
it goes
okay.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But at least it's been working for you so far. Like you haven't like, your business hasn't closed or anything. So like it's working for you at the moment. So keep doing what you're doing, obviously. But let's I had a question in my head and now I'm like my brain's not working. Um
All good.
and it was off of what you just said too. I was gonna ask questions. Oh, how do you go about billing your clients? Like what like how do you have like a set pricing for things or is it kind of like based
Some
off
things,
of the
yeah.
time and work that you do for them?
So this is a deeper topic than we won't be able to cover all of today. But but the
The
sort of surface
shortened
level
version.
version is that when we first started, everything was custom. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me exactly what you want, and then I'll build a proposal around that. And we did them all
Okay.
by project. Um, Now everything is mostly custom. So we have a couple of fixed price things. We'll have people come in for workshops that are fixed price. So you'll come in for a half day, a full day, or 2 days, and anything beyond 2 days. I know exactly what we can do. I know, and we can gear each workshop towards whatever the client wants on that particular day. But we have, our 8 hour block or 10 hour,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is for that day, or 16 hours for 2 days. Okay, what were you asking?
We were talking about pricing, like how you price whenever you do someone's project or and stuff.
Yeah, so for pricing, we do most things are custom. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, we've got some fixed price workshops and stuff like that. That allows people to engage at a low cost to engage with us initially, and then we'll build a proposal based on what we know now the workload is going to be, right? So every project ends up being uniquely different. We have a couple of hourly rates that we attribute to different workloads and or different types of work, and then we basically plug those in to whatever the project is. So if we're gonna only make a prototype, that's gonna be a different rate or a different estimate than if we're going to do a big research project, design exploration, and a bunch of those other following things. So,
Right. Because then some of those take more time. So it is like
right,
you gotta.
exactly. So a big part of what we do is basically training because we have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs that come to us. We do have established businesses. Some of the biggest names in the bike industry have been our clients. We don't get to talk about them, but that's part of the contracts, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, we don't talk about those, but that's, not that big of a deal.
Right.
So when we do work with the entrepreneurs, then we'll help to train them and learn about things like brand strategy, visual brand language, how the value of design in their organization is going to change and shift as they're going from being the owner and founder and designer and like everything else to,
Mm-hmm.
running the business instead. And so then we become their internal design team.
Nice. And it's crazy how many different little things go into making like one thing. Like how you just said, like the branding and like all the other little things. I'm sorry, I'm like spacing,
A
but you
lot,
just said a couple different things that go into one. So it's like
that's right. A lot of
all
people
those different
don't
things.
a lot of people don't think about packaging, fulfillment.
Mm,
Where once you get these, 1,000 backpacks, where are they going to go? Are they going in your
right.
garage? Are you going to get a warehouse? Who's going to ship them? Are you going to go to a what they call 3PL, like a third party logistics place? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I know that much, the tiniest little bit about third party logistics, other than that it exists and how people could utilize it. I know
Right.
that part,
Right.
but I don't
Right.
have products that we're making, and so I'm not engaging with enough people for me to have a really good understanding of that. So I can point people in a direction, right? If you wanted to make something domestically, then I would say, okay, well, here's the 3 or 4 partners that we would recommend that you use for contract manufacturing domestically, or if you'd like to go to the Far East because made in the USA isn't super critical to you, and instead
Hmm.
you'd rather have you'd rather just make sure that it's good and it comes in at a good cost target, we can do that, right? And so we'll figure out
Yeah,
where to go, who to partner with, and how to get you what you need within both the time and budget that you have. So
that's nice.
sometimes things are out of budget, right? To work with a particular manufacturer, you got to have a bigger order, for example, to work with some of these folks. And some folks are taking
Yeah,
a lot longer. And so that's kind of the price. Well, you're going to pay more for having it now or having it soon, and you're going to pay less to have it further away. Can your business kind of absorb that difference?
right. I like that. That's cool. It's just cool how you can have the different options for people, and you know the people are gonna be like, yeah, I can set you with this person or this person. Like that's really cool. So you earlier had mentioned that you have a few team members where possible, and I feel it's important to address this topic of building a great team. So how
Yeah.
would you describe your leadership style in business, and has it changed over the years?
That's a really interesting question because I have no formal training.
right,
I'm very much a
right.
wing it and have exceptional ethics and have an exceptional work ethic and just be kind. Like that's my leadership style, I think. I'm probably a little too lenient. I don't care generally speaking if someone shows up at 9 or 10. Like, are you getting your work done?
That's the artist in
Like,
you. You're just like, at
yeah,
least you're
fair,
showing up and doing the
fair.
work.
Yeah, I think a big part of this is my ability to have the emotional connection. Like
Yeah,
that's more important to me than anything else. At
yeah,
the end of the day, I'm like, well, I guess I was gonna say propagate isn't the right word. Like we build relationships, propagate's the wrong word.
yeah,
We build relationships, right? And so by
yeah,
building a good relationship with somebody, you can then be able to have an uncomfortable conversation, right? Like,
yeah.
and so we try to do quarterly. They end up being like semi-annual, or like twice a year, or whatever, reviews. And then, um, I want my team to outgrow us. I don't want them to leave, but I need them to grow, right? I need
Yeah,
like anybody who comes here and builds the skills that they need, they're going to be successful here is going to be successful someplace else, right? I understand,
yeah,
your mom's sick and so you got to go take care of her out in Wisconsin or someplace, right? Like there are reasons that people have to move on that have nothing to do with a bad environment or they didn't pay
yeah,
them enough or whatever. So I want to make sure that our team, everybody on the team, like if you don't have to work from the studio, work from home. If you don't
right. I was
work
gonna
well
ask, like,
from
could they
home,
work from
work here.
home? Yeah,
So
that's nice.
the nature of our work, like unless you've got 5 sewing machines at home, probably going to be in the office while you're working on a sewing project, right? Or
Yeah,
unless you have 4 or 5 3D printers, right? So there's a lot of things that designers can do on their own in their own space, but we create an environment here where it's fun to be here. Like we're collaborative, we joke around, we probably gonna get in trouble with HR because like we probably joke around too much.
but
But like there's there's enough play in the work that we do that it makes it easy to be here, and so people want to be here, right?
yeah,
So work from home, great, right? But today, our business developer Nick, he's working from home, right? He'll be in tomorrow
hmm,
because we've got a client coming in tomorrow, and so that sort of dynamic is going to shift based on the necessity, based on the need
yeah,
of whatever the project phase, all those kinds of things.
yeah. That's kind of how my job is. Like, we can go to the office if we want to, or if we want to work from home, we can. I'm
Yeah.
most of the time. I used to go to the office most of the time, but now I've been staying home because my daughter's just been a little crazy. So I just need to be here in case something happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really cool. How many employees do you currently have on your team?
So we've currently got 2 designers, and one business developer, myself, and my wife who does the HR stuff. She does billing and accounts payable, all that kind of stuff. And And so what is that? Five of us currently.
Yeah.
We're about to hire another designer. We need someone who's got a lot of expertise in soft goods, but
Nice.
at the end of the day, our the nature of our work shifts from hard goods to
Yeah.
soft goods based on the clients that come through the door. And so it really will depend on what we anticipate the next 3 to 6 months of work looking like. Um,
Have you guys
but
ever done like have you ever had to like call like a freelancer and like have them kind of help you guys? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
okay.
the nature of our work is the next person who joins the team will probably be a contractor, like a short-term 3 to 4 month or even 6 month contract, because I
Nice.
don't know, right? And the
Yeah.
goal is that it becomes a permanent thing, that it becomes a job where this person is here all the time. But
Right.
we, I don't want to ever lay somebody off again. That sucked.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I had no training and I'm like, I don't know how to do this. This is an awful conversation, but we had to make a call and probably a lot sooner should have made the call, but didn't. Just to
Hmm.
say, hey, here we are, and we've got not enough incoming project work, and so we can't keep you on.
Especially whenever
That
it's
really
something like that. It's not even like it was their fault type of thing. Like they
yeah,
didn't
it's awful.
like
It sucks.
yeah.
I don't ever want to do
'Cause
that again. Like I got
no,
I
because
got laid
it's like
off.
what?
Hmm. I mean, I got laid off when I was at Yeti, and I got to experience what that was like, and so I feel like I've got a lot of empathy towards someone who's now in that position. And um,
Yes.
I had a colleague who runs another engineering design studio here in town say something to the effect of every time that an employee buys a new car, buys a house, has a kid, you're like, oh, now I got another mouth to feed, I got another rent, I got another car payment. So you have to make sure that your business is thriving. And so that's
Yeah.
my responsibility as the business owner is to make sure that they don't have to think about it. I want to make it so
Right.
that it's comfortable for everybody. Everybody's paid well, has time off when they need it, all those kinds of things. Like we don't have sick leave. Just don't be here because I don't want to get sick. Like
Right. Right.
just
Especially because it's like
work
you can
from
we just
home.
work at home.
Or
It's like
like
that's
don't
perfect.
or rest, right?
Right.
Like
I
resting
was
is
gonna
the
say just
best way
rest
to
for
not be
that day.
sick.
Like,
Yeah,
right.
resting is the
It's
best
like
way to not be
it's
sick.
like
Stay
literally
home.
just get better. Just get better. Like drink the fluids, go to the doctor, whatever you need to do, just don't come in.
Not everybody, but see, the thing is, not everybody gets to do that, right? Not everybody
Right.
gets to allow an employee to do that. I think that like so, I worked at Bell Giro, I worked at Yeti, and
Right. It's
now
like you
my
probably
own
couldn't do that
company.
there.
It's been a good opportunity for me to allow for like the fluidity of what makes sense and when. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it allows for us to really enable everybody to run their own time, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones
And
setting the
it kind
schedule
of makes
primarily.
people like their job more and like their boss more because it's like you're more understanding of
That's
the
the goal.
situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah. So let's move forward and let's look at what's to come next. Where do you see your business in the next 3 to 5 years?
Okay, so 3 to 5 years. Part of our entrepreneurial operating system adoption or trying to adopt this has been to make that plan. Our 5 to 10 year plan. So we'll start with the 10 year plan is to have three different studios in three different biomes. So or three different environments, one in the city, one on the coast, and one in the mountains. That's our 10 year plan. Um, I don't know how we're going to achieve that because it seems pretty daunting. But when we back up to 3 years, then it's more about growth and setting. By 3 years, we should probably have that second office in a location. Maybe that's rented. Maybe it's purchased. We don't really know yet. I reset our 5 to 10 year plan this last year just because we had such a horrible year. We needed to figure out, okay,
Yeah.
are we,
Like you had to like
is there any
recalculate what to
chance?
do.
Yeah, and so things are changing and shifting. So at this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna reset, and now our 1 year plan is basically just growth. Our 2 year and 3 year plan is also building into growth. So from here, the goal is to effectively build enough. both internal projects and external projects that were able to sustain the business in multiple different ways. So that's sort of the not too deep version of the plan.
Yeah, I like that. Well, you've had a really interesting story. I've actually really enjoyed our conversation. So, as we wrap up, I have a few rapid fire questions for you. Are
Great.
you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Awesome. Okay. What is the key to success for you?
Staying grounded and not taking yourself too seriously.
Mm, okay. What is one piece of advice for other business owners?
Figure out what the one thing that you can have the most impact by doing is.
I like that. And then this one is kind of a fun question. If you had a bit of magic dust that you could choose to sprinkle on one spot of your business, where would that be?
Hmm. Wow. I don't know how to answer that one. I'm just gonna say it's on the sales side, so it just happens. Because I don't want to do the sales side, I just want to do the work.
Yes. It's like that's yeah, right. You're like, I just don't want to, yeah.
That's
Everyone
right.
just come and like buy, like tell me that you need me and that's it. Like I'll just do the work after that.
Yep.
Awesome. So before we get to the final question of the day, could you please share with our audience how they can follow you,
Yeah,
learn more, and
absolutely.
contact you? Awesome.
Absolutely. So you can find us at info@trailsidecreative.com. You can come to us through the website. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, mostly just Instagram and LinkedIn. Um, and trailsidecreative.com is our website.
Nice. Well, the final question of the day is what is most inspiring to you today?
You asked me this question as a prep question, and I was thinking about it, and honestly, it's the young generation of designers coming through the systems, and the
Yeah.
larger systems, seeing the inspiration that they have, seeing the motivation that they have. They're living in a different world, right? They're graduating.
Yeah.
We're going to graduate in a time that's vastly different from when I graduated 20 years ago, and so
Yeah.
I'm inspired by their positivity, their optimism, right? The world can be crazy, is crazy right now. And so as things change, like we have a responsibility as designers, we have a responsibility to the world to do good work. And all of these
Yeah.
young designers are conscious of that. Like we can either make plastic things that become trash, or we can be conscious of the fact that something's going to get thrown away at the end of its life cycle, and make different choices, right? And use sustainable materials. So the consciousness of the young designers is probably the thing that is right now inspiring me the most. We've got an intern, have had an intern for the last 2 weeks, and seeing the way he views projects, he views use of materials and all of these other
Hmm.
things is definitely kind of put that at the thing I would say is most inspiring at the moment.
Yeah. I was like, because whenever I see like certain designs like that they've done on like Instagram or anything, I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's way cooler than whenever I was even in school. Like, what was it like? I think it's been 10 years now. I didn't graduate, but
Yeah.
I went to school and was doing graphic design. But yeah, I'm like, you guys are doing wild things now. It's crazy how things have just changed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but this has been a great conversation. I have really enjoyed hearing your story. So thank you for sharing. And
Absolutely.
also, I just want to encourage all of you who are watching to save the show and come back later to watch it again because Kyle really did have some great insights for business. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that you can get notifications every time a new conversation drops, just like this one. So, thank you to everyone who joined us today, and a special thank you to you, Kyle, for being here. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.